One day as a freshman in high school, I checked my email and I saw a message from a college. "Kimberly," it read, "our school wants you to apply." At 14, I certainly didn't feel ready to apply for college. But despite how I felt about it, I found myself prepping for college not too long after I received that first email. Now, as a senior graduating from high school, college seems to be all that people are talking about.
Every time I'm on Twitter,
Facebook,
Instagram,
everyone's talking about college.
It is the hot topic amongst friends, parents, and teachers. The journey to college was a long and grueling road, longer than most people realize. In my personal experience, this process has come in 5 parts. Part 1. Grades. Some students have a really hard time adjusting to their first year of high school and make academic mistakes that irreversibly affect their GPA, then their college, and then their resume. My high school sends over 90% of its students to 4-year universities, so the environment is one of focus, pressure, and expectation. Luckily, I went into my freshman year with a competitive spirit, knowing that I wanted to academically succeed. But I felt judged based off of my grade point average just as much as my personality. Besides taking an ultra-rigorous class load, it is also expected that students take leadership roles in clubs, excel at sports, master an instrument, rack up community service hours, and have a defining moment that you can write about on all of your personal statements. Showing evidence of school spirit is also a plus, so one should hold a class office, tech the play, or win homecoming king.
I'm on the robotics team.
I have started a few kids programs.
Well, I ran a marathon back in March.
I include bells because I play handbells.
Part 2. Test scores. Typically, the SAT or the ACT. One of the most dreaded experiences of the college application process for me was the standardized testing. I took a prep class for the SAT, completed practice SAT tests, and took practice ACTs. By the end of it, I never wanted to look at the College Board logo again in my life.
Every time that I took a practice SAT, my score went down by like 100 points.
I'm pretty happy with my scores, actually.
Just saying in my mind, don't panic, but I panic.
I thought it was ridiculously easy too, but I turned out I only got like an 1800.
Each morning of a standardized test seemed to be the same. 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Instead of being in bed, I'd be at the high school, surrounded by my sleepy peers. The halls would seem colder than normal, and the usual buzz of social life was replaced with a thick tension of anxiety. I'd double and triple check my pockets for my number 2 pencils, my watch, eraser, calculator, snacks, ID, and test registration. I'd hear cliques of people whispering to each
I
other.
only did one practice test, and it took me 20 minutes, but I'm afraid I'll run out of time.
I'm scared I'll run out of time on the math one.
I'm worried about the math more.
Doors
but
open,
Yeah.
conversations die. Students file in and sit 1.5 feet away from each other. The next 4 hours pass in a blur of mental exertion, ticking clocks, and filling in bubbles. Needless to say, I would have rather been anywhere else. By the end of the 4.5 hours, I felt
Drained and upset.
My brain felt like jello.
Very apathetic.
2 weeks later, the results are posted online. Teens, and sometimes their parents, stay up into the early hours of the morning, refreshing their webpage to see the posted test scores. The first time that I saw my below-average SAT scores, it affected my confidence, especially when some of my closest friends scored so highly on the PSAT that they were being nationally recognized. After a lot more practice, my scores went up, but it took 7 months to find out that the ACT was just a better test for me. If there was one thing that standardized testing taught me, it was that my test scores did not define me as a person. My score did not reflect my wit or close friendships, my dreams or aspirations. Yet, it was integral to getting into college. Part 3. Applying to the colleges. In the U.S. alone, there are 2,364 4-year degree granting institutions. Narrowing down the application choices is based on a number of factors: average standardized test scores, school size, public or private, in-state or out-of-state, cost, available areas of study, and etc.
I wanted a school that had more cows than people.
Medium-sized, good student life, academics, of course. Obviously academics, again, the community feeling, and small class size.
During junior year in high school, my friends visited as many colleges as they could fit into their spring breaks. They toured the schools, picked up brochures, met any admissions officer they could, and asked the pertinent questions, keeping in mind the specifics of which could appear in their personal essay. For me, I walked around the brick buildings of UCLA and I fell in love. I came home from the tour and I told my parents, this is where I want to go. Being a dominantly USC family, my grandmother was slightly aghast at the thought of her own granddaughter applying to the rival school. Once I decided where I would apply, I began to undergo the process. I filled out the common application and supplements, wrote personal essays, answered short response questions, requested letters of recommendation, created a resume outlining all of the extracurricular activities that I was involved in, and sent transcripts and test scores to all of my schools. With the number of schools that my friends and I applied to, it was easy to feel overwhelmed by all of the paperwork. Unlike my mom and dad, who applied to maybe 3 colleges each, I applied to 14. My peers applied to
15.
10.
9.
6. As many as I possibly can.
And as a chronic procrastinator, it took me from July to January 1st, the very last day possible, to finish applying to all of my colleges. Part 4. The Wait. For those who did not apply early action or early decision to a college, the month of February can be the longest month there ever was. All of my work had been sent off to unknown boards of people to judge and either accept or reject me. My unknown future put me on edge, counting down the days until I would finally just know. Part 5. The Results. By April 1st, all of my results were in, and I received 11 admissions and 4 rejections. Rejection in life is always a possibility. Instead of letting it define me, I'm proud that I challenged myself, and proud that I took a chance working towards a successful future. I'm looking forward to starting the new chapter of my life at UCLA. But mostly, I'm relieved to be finished with the college application process. This has been a product of Open Orchard Productions. I'm Kimmy Rich. If you'd like to hear more teen-created stories like this one, please visit our website at www.openorchardproductions.org.